Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Positive Living Center, brought to you by Zoom Productions so that we get to see and talk with people all around the country, sometimes around the world. Any newcomers with us today, or those of you who have not been with us for a while, welcome. Welcome back to us. Well, it's September, if you can believe it. The themes for September is Only I Can Free Me, Daily Practice Creating Freedom, and then First God and then Me. I love it. I can't wait to hear what everyone has to say on these themes this month. Very interesting. So good to see all of you this morning. How about we settle in for a little meditation to start this fabulous Sunday? I'll ask Jim to play a little something in the background while we meditate. Let's go with it. God gave us free will to create, to decide how we will live. Freedom is ours, and daily practice allows us to be free. We are so blessed, and so it is. Thank you, Jim. That was lovely music. Thank you very much. It's time for our spiritual thought. And our speaker this morning for our spiritual thought is Reverend Judy DeRosa. Good morning, Judy.
Good morning. Good morning to everyone. I loved our dialogue this morning when Bob Hans said, it's not how many times you fall down, it's how many times you get up. And that's so goes with my talk today. I took a long time to consider this month's subjects, and I decided to share these personal feelings with you. Only I can free me. And I'll apologize beforehand if I get a little emotional, so just bear with me. When we're born, we are far from free. We're dependent on other humans for food, comfort, and security. We're basically attached on so many levels to survive in this environment as a dependent, not an independent. And our choice and free will is non-existent at this time in our life. It is the element of love that allows the survival from birth to independence. We do not hit the ground running like many creatures that can and must walk and then run within the first hour of their existence. Most babies, be they monkeys, humans, or kittens, they're held and fed and nurtured by the divine feminine, often called mother. The shared responsibilities of a baby are many times non-existent. And for those fathers here in the Positive Living Center who can and do take on the care and nurturing of a baby and children and grandchildren, I thank you. I had no help when I had my daughter, and I found it more important to leave the relationship in order to protect her and myself. Sorry. From physical abuse. So that concept of creating freedom seemed to me to be notably far away. As we grow and learn about rules to live by, we may be taught some very negative thinking. Just the fact that some families only read one book, never ask questions, or challenge anything in their life can leave children burdened with the belief system that restricts rather than opens the mind. That fear-based idea, overthinking everything and being fearful that they are bad and worthless and sinners, is left as a stigma on many people. The monster in the closet is often the monster in our head that is created as we grow into adults. The unlearning of those fearful ideas and rules come later on in life, when we're free to question the authority and authenticity of the life rules we were taught. This is when that personal work of digging into the idea of, can I even be free, comes into play. Can I even feel feelings and love deeply without fearing the predicted consequences? This idea of freedom being created by oneself was never introduced to me, and my views were a lifelong search, knowing that there is a better way, a loving source that must exist somewhere. The standards can only be changed by oneself by redefining what we think is true and casting out what we have found is not true. I had been convinced by one of my parents that I was such a bad person. I suffered severe depression, and I thought I could do this. So bear with me. When I was going to my therapist, he asked me if I had murdered anyone. Had I robbed a bank? And what was it that I thought I had done that was so terrible? I, of course, said, no, I wouldn't do any of those things. And he said, Judy, you are not a bad person. You need to discover who you really are instead of what you had been told by your family. And I can see now how brainwashed I had been. And this form of self-realization can only be done by our inner workings of finding that love exists all around us, even in those whose crazy making concepts almost pushed me over the edge. Now, my Native American medicine teachers helped me on my many levels to come to a place in life where I did not feel shame for even existing. Child abuse is a destructive, self-defeating, soul-crushing existence. And many children do not make it through this world because of such damage. But after deeper soul work and later in life, finding the Positive Living Center, I can see how important having a daily practice of creating our freedom is. May you set yourself free by the daily awareness of how precious your inner peace truly is. Each day is a choice, and each day is a gift. My ability to seek out my best in myself and move from controlling, stifling people proves to me that Source is in everything and everyone, even the ones I receive the most difficult life lessons from. I can stand in gratitude and see how important it is that only I can free me. We struggle to become free and welcome the work. And that work is not being self-centered. That work is discovering how strong we are. In India, they have a saying, do not pray for an easy life. Pray to be a strong person. And in parting is the wisdom from the way of mastery, the bliss, the wisdom, the creativity, the laughter, the friendships, the joy, the serenity, and the peace that have been, for the most part, seen as impossible. This dream will become your most ordinary state of being. And so it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Judy. I think you learned from those who were good around you and those who were bad for you, bad toward you, so you could determine for yourself who you want to be in life. Your therapist is very wise to bring you back to God and start again. Wow. Thank you so much. It was a very personal and a beautiful story. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you for listening.
Absolutely. It's time for music by Jim Savarino. Jim, welcome back to us.
Oh, and it's good to be here. And Reverend Judy, that was amazing. I hope that my music will put a little joy on top of that, because that was such a powerful accounting. So, and I know from my own experience, I have some taste of that. So here's something called The Earth Reborn. There's a place I go where the forest is green, carpet of moss by a clear running stream. I drink my fill, lie on the ground, listen, then I hear a sound. It's a sound of the earth reborn, healing the things we've torn, the sound of the earth reborn. world is blooming. I've never seen so many flowers, so much that's green. Like the lives all around me, I see them unfold as people shout joyful at the power they hold. It's the sound of the earth reborn, healing the things we've torn. The sound of the earth reborn. And the world is shrinking, smaller each day. The lines that we painted are fading away. The fences are falling, they're striking the ground. I laugh when I hear the sound. It's the sound of the earth reborn, healing the things we've torn. The sound of the earth reborn. Oh, the sound of the earth reborn.
What a perfect song. Thank you so much. Perfect.
Thank you.
Right after that fabulous talk by Reverend Judy. Beautiful. Beautiful. It lifted my spirits again this morning too. Thank you. It's time for our main speaker this morning, and is none other than Reverend Sandy West. Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning, everyone. And I have to say, Judy, you have my admiration and respect. To share that pain is how we all learn. To share what goes on with each of us with the others, to know that we all go through this, and that the pain and what happens is what makes us better, what makes us more loving and more caring, and makes the world a better place when we come out of the other side of it. What you said has brought tears to me, and also I think it probably changed my talk this morning. I was probably in my 50s before I realized I had had a goal my whole life of freedom, but it didn't resonate with me or dawn on me, if you will, that I could free myself. You know, we were trained to do certain things, to go to school and to learn things, to have certain kind of jobs, to behave in certain ways, to wear the gloves or the pantyhose or whatever it was that we had to do. And I was very unhappy with my life, but I didn't know that I could change it, that I had that power. It's probably in my 50s. I'd gone through alcoholism, therapy, but still more therapy to come, that started me looking at life differently. If my goal had always been freedom, what did freedom mean to me? And how could I go about getting it in a way that made sense to me and impacted my life and how I could be? I started to look at what had gone on in my life and what was going on around me. And I started to see the lessons. So many of the lessons were how I didn't want to be, how I didn't want to act. When you watch the news and you see so many of the horrible things that happen, I didn't want to be that person. I knew I had the potential to be. I'd seen my anger. I'd heard my rage. I'd heard my voice. I'd heard my words. I could hurt with that. And I had hurt with that, many people. But I started to learn that I didn't have to stay that way, that there were other ways to live, other ways to care, other things to do. It started with that, knowing that, finding science of mind, studying, and starting to see that there were different ways that life could happen. I didn't do well in churches when I was growing up. None of them made sense. I'd go to church after church after church, excuse me, and I couldn't find a home. I found a home in Science of Mind, in what it was teaching and the philosophy. And I realized that it was a lifestyle. It didn't have to be just a church. It was a way of living. It was a way of finding freedom. And it was a way of finding freedom that I could choose to allow myself. I could do more than just say, I want to be free. There was a way to be free. The hardest part of that journey for me was changing my thoughts. You have them all the time without even thinking of them. Oh, look at that person, their hair's a mess. Oh, look at that, a runner in their pantyhose. Oh, look at that, isn't this food bad? Oh, I hate the color of that house. Oh, she doesn't decorate right. Oh, this office is dingy. It goes on and on and on. And to try to harness that, let alone slow it down or stop it, was this big thing that I didn't know how to even do. What I found, and what was so important about what Judy shared this morning, is that we need to talk more. We need to share more. We need to help others with what worked for us, not what I read in a book, but what worked. What part of this or that made a difference? And I started writing, and I've shared this before, a recipe for a good week in my life. You know, we used to have recipe cards. Everything wasn't on computer then. And I started writing down, and the title was Sandy's Good Week. And it took me, I would say, close to a year to figure out what a good week was. And I realized I'd probably never had a good week, or what I would call a good week. I realized I'd probably never been happy. I wasn't sure what happiness was. I didn't know what peace was. There had been so much turmoil in my life. There had been so much pain and hurt. How could I smile and love and open my heart when I might be hurt? How could I trust that I could be safe doing that? It didn't happen overnight, and I doubt that it does for anyone. We are all on this same road and this same journey, putting one foot in front of the other every day of the week, one moment in front of the other, to constantly watch how we're acting, what we're saying, and what we're doing. It took, excuse me, a long time for that to be a habit. We don't develop new habits overnight. They talk about, you can develop a new habit in a month. But that's one thing. That's not a lifestyle. That's not a way of living and talking and thinking. It takes more than 30 days. It takes a lot of sets of 30 days. It takes having someone that you can talk to, whether it's a therapist, a minister, a best friend, someone who will listen and not judge you, someone who will mentor you and not point out what you're doing wrong, but help you see what you're doing right, to help you look at a glass half full instead of half empty, to help you figure out what your daily practice is going to be. And everything matters. Mine became things like a massage twice a month, eating well, practicing smiling. I had to practice smiling in the mirror. Practicing loving yourself. I had to kiss the mirror and learn how to love myself and even look at my body. I was so ashamed. To be able to have something spiritual and empowering to read every day. To think of God first. When I open my eyes in the morning, to think of God, to think of that connection, that empowerment, that loving unconditionally. God loves each and every one of us. without judgment, without anything that we would consider negative. How did I deserve that? It took a long time before I could allow myself to know I deserved it as much as anyone else in this world. I deserved it. If I could see beauty in a weed when it was in bloom, maybe somebody could see beauty in me. If someone could say something loving and nice and helpful to me, maybe I could say something loving and nice and helpful to someone else. It was a process, a daily process of readjusting and rethinking. But each day was another drop of clear water in my glass of cloudy water. It got clearer and clearer and better and better. There came a point where I went back to school. I knew that if I was going to do anything with what I was learning and what my healing was about, I needed an education. I needed a degree. I needed to find the place where I could help. Mine ended up being I'm a marriage family therapist and a minister. And that's where it was for me, to help people, to mentor them, to show that if it could work for me, it could work for you. You just had to figure out what your way was. It wasn't for me to tell you your way. I could make suggestions. I could make nudges. I could share with you what worked for me. But I determined early on, I would not do any of that if I had not already done it myself and found that it worked for me. I had to know that I wasn't causing harm, that I was doing it in a way that was loving and gentle and caring. I had to have patience. That was a hard one, to develop patience. That's part of freedom, is patience. Freedom is a way of being, but freedom is also a lot of things that you don't do. You don't yell fire in a crowded room. You don't do a lot of things. Being free doesn't mean that I can say bad words to you. Being free doesn't mean that I can take everything you've done and make light of it. It doesn't mean that I can do whatever I want and nobody else matters. Freedom is about being able to be a loving, caring, sharing person within a family. Whether that family is the whole planet, whether it's my church, whether it's my spiritual partners, whether it's my personal family. Freedom is looking for the highest potential, the highest good for each and every one of those. And you know what? A lot of times that means shutting my mouth and stepping back and not saying anything. Because I can't interfere between you and God and what your lesson is, what you're learning, what you're doing. I can't judge that. I have no way of knowing. I only know for me. As you work with people, you learn more and more to not judge it. It just is. If it doesn't work for me, I say I'm allergic to it. I don't say it's a bad thing. I don't say nobody should do that. It's not up to me to judge. Freedom is also about, for me, facing the consequences of whatever I have done, whatever that was. I lived the consequences in a negative way for so long that it was hard to realize that that was my freedom. That's what I thought. That's what I was thinking. That's what I chose to be and to do. I had to empower myself to be able to really understand what freedom was, to be able to really understand how to look at freedom differently, how to look at it more lovingly, to allow my freedom to love me, to guide me, to help me become the highest divine being I could possibly be in this world. The hardest one was the freedom to say no, to be able to say, no, I don't want to do that. Can you find somebody else? That's a hard one. We're always supposed to say, yes, I'll do that, or whatever you need. And to start saying no took me a long time. And I don't think I'm through understanding freedom yet. I don't think I'm through learning how to be the best Sandy I can be. But I do know this. I enjoy the journey so much more now. To be able to share and to talk, to not hide things anymore. It's so exciting not to hide who and what I am anymore. It's okay for people to know where I've been and what I've done. It's no longer shame-based. It's something that I did and it's gone. Or if it was something I broke, it's done broken. I only have now moments now. What is it in this moment that I should do? What is it in this moment that I should share or be? To focus on that brings it down to the essence of who and what we are. I'm so sorry, allergies. In this moment, I want to be the best Sandy I can be. And that also means being honest about the moments when I'm not feeling so good. The moments when life isn't working for me. The moments where I need someone to just listen to me, that I need to share to. I'm willing to listen, but I need to share. I saw on Facebook, I think it was, where they have these libraries and people go in, instead of getting a book, they connect with a person for a half hour and that person listens to them so that they can go in and share and be heard. What a gift that would have been to me so long ago, that someone wouldn't judge, but would just listen and look me in the eye. It's freedom to be able to look people in the eye, to not worry about how you're looking or if they're looking up and down you. You know what I noticed after I lost a breast? No one looks at my chest. They look me in the eye. Who could ask for a greater gift than that? To see the wholeness in me that is still there, no matter what the outside looks like. When you go forth this week, think about what freedom means to you. It's an important concept that we'll spend the rest of our lives working on, because it's one of the things that will make this world a better place. To understand the true outlines of what freedom is. It's to be, it's to share, it's to mentor, it's to love, it's to learn, it's to evolve. It's to say no. Share with others, talk to them. Do your daily practices of your spiritual work, your prayers, your taking care of yourself. All of this is a part of your freedom. We have a freedom in this country to live pretty much how we want. We have a freedom to go to the grocery store and there's plenty to buy. We have the freedom to go to charities or other places to get help when we need it. That's not available in a lot of countries in this world, and all you have to do is turn on a TV or a news channel on the internet. Any of it will show you how blessed we are with what we have in this country. Do not belittle what we have by not appreciating it, by not doing your best to honor it, to live it, to share it. So go forth this week and spread freedom and love. The world needs us, and it becomes a better place each day that we're in it. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Sandy. Thank you very much. Seems like we all have our own time in our journeys, discovering who we are and what we are, good and bad. I think it helps us to have gone through those experiences and then to sit down and talk with God, go within because within is where the freedom begins. I truly believe that. And then once you discover what it is you want to be, it becomes a way of life. We all learn at different ages and different times in our life here. Beautiful. Thank you so much. It's time for our offertory. And would you please do the offertory prayer with me this time? Divine love flowing through me, blesses and increases all that I give and all that I receive. Real quick about sending tithings, you can donate to the PLC on our iFocus email that Luana puts out every week. Just tap on the green donate button and the procedure from there, they will take you from there to do the process of donating that way, or you can send checks to our mailing address at the PLC at PO Box 2683 in Oakhurst 93644.
And the
Thank you for your-
information's in the chat box.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your tithings and the time that you give to keep our center doing well and waiting for our return. And that will happen someday. We know this. Do we have any announcements this morning? No announcements. Wow, that's great, I guess.
I think
Uh,
that, might want to say again, I think that Reverend Bob is not having a spiritual discussion group this month. Is that right, Bob?
Yes, and we're taking a break for this month.
Cool.
Start back up next month.
Good, excellent. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Our prayer partner today is the Reverend Judy DeRosa. So please contact her for prayers, for conversations with her if you like, whatever it is that you like. We are here for you.
Oh,
And yes,
I have an announcement. I forgot to put the link where I said I was going to be putting the link, which is right on the practitioner name, so that we could contact them using the weekly email. But Judy's contact information is down below because of the heart-to-heart that we have. So all you have to do is go to that location if you have a desire to reach out. And I believe, Judy, your preference is a phone call, right? And I think your number is down there in that link.
Yes, it is. But I'm going to type my number in just in case anyone wants to have a chat. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Judy.
thank you. And there it is in the chat box. Thank you so much. Thank you, LJ. Next week's speaker, as we've mentioned once before already, is going to be Reverend Bob Hand. And I know that Bob is going to have something marvelous to say next week. I can't wait to hear you speak, Bob. And how about we do the prayer of protection together at this time? The light of God surrounds me. The love of God
impulse me.
the power of God,
Love of God protects me.
the presence of
Love
God,
of God watch
me.
me.
The energy of God is me. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What a fabulous service today. Oh, my goodness. Reverend Sandy, would you give us a closing prayer, please?
Yes, I'd be delighted to. As you just relax into yourself for a moment, know that each and every one of us is God. We speak from God, with God, through God. And this is so important to know, that we are unified and one with each other. And that as we each heal, we all heal. As we each share, we all share. As we each evolve, we all evolve. And it is so important that we know this as we continue on our journeys. This is a wonderful spiritual family to journey with, full of love and caring, forgiveness, admiration, grace, the beauty that we are. And I know as we all go forth this week, we've taken another giant leap of mastery, that we are spiritual beings going out and making a difference in this world. And I accept for all of us this divine knowing that we honor ourselves, are proud of ourselves, that we know we have all done a job well done. And I give such glorious thanks for that which is ours. And say with me, please, and so it is.
So it is. Joining us this morning. What a fabulous service. I hope you have a great, great week. We'll see you next Sunday.
Yes.
Bye-bye now.
Hi, everyone.
Bye-bye, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you, Jim, for your music. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Reverend Sandy.
Thank you, Reverend Sandy.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you, Judy.
Love you.
Mwah.
Just fabulous thoughts.
Thank you.